As we should be live. Hello everybody. I'm just going to double check everything's working correctly. I believe that it is. Good. Hello Berenson. My day has been lazy. Let's put it like that. As some of you may know, I cancelled Friday's stream because I've been suffering from insomnia all week, and it really hasn't improved, so I'm pretty tired. But I didn't want to cancel today's stream, but I thought we would do something easier today, hence why we're doing modular building. How is everyone else? I need to get something up briefly before we start. I feel you are cursed when it comes to playing the Isle, quite possibly. So, the other day I went off and did some fence building, and I'm going to use these fences that I've already built as kind of a basis for building today's fences. But I'll show them off briefly to you folks now. So we have like a couple of very basic low fences for like your low, smaller animals. Then there was a range of sort of slightly taller fencing in some different patterns. So we've got like a mesh variety, a post variety, one that's like not supposed to be for dinosaurs, it's more of a decorative one, and one with these strong metal pipes, which obviously has a carnivore feel to them. And then I built the same ones but in double length sections with also a glass one too for your glass exhibits. Then some slightly taller ones. So these two were built using Dilophosaurus as a guide. These ones were built using Triceratops as a guide. Same with these ones. These were built with Parasaurolophus and Triceratops in mind, so we've got some thicker posted ones, some glass ones, again in short and long variety. You've got post, like metal bars for carnivores. The idea being that these would be, I've actually put these the wrong way round, so these metal poles are actually on the guest side. So I put them the wrong way around accidentally. Then we've got the high security versions. So we've got the high security fence. Again, this would be from the guest side. And we got the next generation laser defense fence. Just because I want something that's a little tongue-in-cheek. And I thought it looks very good. And then because I've not seen anyone do it before, some fences built with sauropods in mind. Because no one has built fences for sauropods. So these are just some simple sauropod fences. We've got metal, wooden posts, metal bars, and large glass wall pieces built with big sauropods in mind. So the idea is today to spend some time building some fencing of sort of similar types but in a different style, primarily for the Norwegian park that we're building. These will all be on the workshop once I do a video looking at them. But yes, today we're going to focus on making some new fences for the Norwegian park, and they're going to be primarily using... Where are they? These pieces. So, proper logs of various sizes, and these sort of wooden bars and that sort of thing. So, for the first one... So, one of this sort of scale, I kind of want to do something a little different. I'm not going to use the bricks as the ground. I kind of want to use something different. Let's see. How about something like that? Or that? How about something like that, actually? Let's put one of those, and we're going to shrink it down. I'm just going to put this one down on the ground so I can make use of the heights properly. As you can see, all the fences that I build will be in their own group to make it easier to use. So, yeah, that's fine. I think that's acceptable. So, one there, and again, just going to use this for size reference. have to duplicate another one and make sure I've got it in the right position. There we go. And then we want... Now, my aim with all of these is to create stuff that doesn't take up a million pieces. And actually looks like something you would expect to have. So these guys, I think we could do with maybe having them a little bit lower. That'll do. Is that in the middle? I think it is. And then I'm thinking between them, I kind of want a... How thin can I make this? Quite thin, actually. One. Two. And then let's do another one. So duplicate. And then I think we probably want a couple of pieces of cabling just to make sure nothing gets out at the bottom. Which are in props. There is a new mode that is basically a three-headed, six-armed Spider-Man in Dominus Rex. Oh, I saw that, yes. I mean... I'm sure somewhere someone thinks it's really cool. I think it's cringy, but, you know, it is what it is. Duplicate. Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, I would like to get these even thinner, but... Is there an alternative? Because all of these are... all of those around, but they're too thick. There aren't any thinner columns there. Yeah, no, I don't think there's a similar sort of round wooden piece which is thinner than that, because these are all square. Maybe replace this. No, we'll keep that as it is. We'll keep that as it is. Okay. And we're going to select all of that, confirm, create group. Then we're going to duplicate this for this one. I want to make this not that big. That'll do. And then same with this one. So 1, 2, 3. Is it 0.8 or 0.9 that we used? 0.8. And then same thing again. We're going to just stretch this out to about there. And stretch that out to about there. Actually, and we're going to delete those. And get the bigger ones. Mods are getting out of hand already, exactly. But then that's modding for you, you know. You have to take the good and the, not necessarily not good, but weird, hand in hand, you know. Okay, so let's move these up. I think maybe one more of those. Yeah. And then the rest we'll just... one more of these. Yeah. So like if I get some statues in here, so you can see where's Dilo. So Dilo wouldn't be too, you know, it would be a risk, but it would be okay. But then something like that would definitely be fine. And then where's the galley? So galley, you know, the galley mimus could stick his face over that, but it's tall enough, I think, that it works. Obviously, that's entirely pointless, that size. But that size, it would work fine, and then this size would be, like, ultimately very protected, so... That's the idea with these. Right. Next. I want to sort of stick to the same sort of style. So let's get us a trim piece down here. So I used those ones for this. So let's go with something that makes sense for those logs. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Okay, yeah, maybe these guys then. Huh. Are these doubles? No, they are singles. That's interesting. Hello, Nicholas. How are you doing? So these are actually quite a bit longer than these. Okay. I'm actually wondering if... Oops. What if we put the logs on... that way round? Gives you more of a concrete pad to put the logs in. And I think it looks cooler that way. Okay. How tall are these guys? These are pretty tall. I do want to make these thicker though. That's fine. Okay. Oops. One's too far. Maybe I should double up with these ones. Okay. Yeah, I think that's better. To unless you use the doubles, I think that looks better. What if the dilo leaps over the fence? Well, obviously, you wouldn't really use a dilo with a fence like this. Before the Dilophosaurus, you would probably use a fence like that. Or to be even safer about it, you'd probably use the glass fence. I only use them for height references, that's all. Yeah, Nicholas, I've been saving concepts of buildings to build myself, actually. Just because it sometimes helps to just have something to work from. I don't wanna use double of those if I can get away with that. So let's... Okay. 1, 2, and 3. And then we need to put some mesh in that. I wish we just had some like basic mesh that we could use instead of having to rely on this stuff. Like there's loads of little, like the more I modular build in this game, there's more and more like sort of simple pieces that I start thinking it would be really nice to have, and it's weird that we don't. Like all the bits of glass that we're missing. This I think we could get away with making slightly smaller. Okie dokie, maybe not. It has got to be that big. So... I'm gonna have to delete that one, which is fine. I don't mind deleting that one. It would be nice to make sure it's in the right place, though. Needs to be in the middle. We'll have that top bar. I think that's okay. I don't want every single one of them to be like identical. I want them to be similar enough that you could use like different types of fence around your park and it not look out of place with one another. Although these wood ones, I do have some unique ideas for them. So let's duplicate this one, and then we're going to move that over here to make it a version of this one. So the one with all the posts. Now what I'm thinking for this one is... we just make it like those good old... fortification fences that Kyodenic used to do. What I'm thinking is if we vary the heights as we go along, I've had an idea, or not necessarily an idea, but a thought. I feel like it makes more sense for these logs to be in something... because at the moment, that sort of divide between the wood and the concrete, it just looks really bizarre. So I'm thinking it makes sense for it to be in some sort of, like... sand. Or something similar. Maybe these metal ones? Huh. Like, I like the gravel. I think the gravel makes sense. or the sand more than soil? Well, I think we all knew the Rebirth DLC was going to come. I mean, I don't think anyone was particularly surprised. So yeah, I think we all knew it was coming, and we at least we now have it confirmed, and you know, that's that, as it were. Personally, I'm not particularly bothered, just because it is, for me, the most pointless of DLCs. It's not gonna have any effect for me. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. Hello, Luna. Okay, so what do people think we go with the stone, the sort of the metal with the stone, or the stone base with the sort of sand in it? Stone. Okay. So if you take that and then, oops, if you do that and that, that and that, and that, confirm, advanced move. Make sure that's roughly in the middle. These two pieces do need, oops, these two do need to be just a little bit closer. Yep. Same for those two. I agree. I think that looks better than the concrete. I'm happy using these two. But actually, do we have something that we can... that's a bit too big. Do we have one that's smaller than that? Okay, no. But what if we replaced it with... what if we actually just used the long one? And just... can't make it shorter. Or rather, we can't make it thinner. Kind of bugs me just how huge all of these pieces of planter are. But to be honest, I don't mind using the concrete and brick because they still have that like sandy texture in the middle of them. So actually, I don't mind that. So actually, I think that works. So if we do this then, if we duplicate that and move that one over here, make sure it's in the right position. There we go. Advanced move. Make sure it's in the middle. And ever so slightly shift this bit in. There we go. Same with this one. And they all need... These pieces need to be dropped slightly. There we go. Yeah, I think the... Oh, no, no, they didn't. They didn't. Because this is not... It is on the ground. Okay, so yeah, they did. Yeah, I think that looks better than that concrete piece. So... Looks like the I do actually want to have a go at making the prehistoric park fences. Just as a set of blueprinted ones. I would just build them in like short length, double length, curved. Right. This one. So this is the one that's going to be more decorative. Still think we can have like the tall tall doubles. Like that. But I'm thinking maybe we could just have it as like just some non-vertical ones, just like... Maybe... Do that and... For that? Kind of want to make sure there's some ivy on them. Maybe just to differentiate, we can just have some... Oof. It's oddly hard to put the ivy on stuff sometimes. I want a mod that gives the base game Trike the colors from Prehistoric Park. That would be really cool. I honestly, I mean, I think I said this in my Prehistoric Park review, retrospective. To me, Prehistoric Park's Triceratops is the best Triceratops. Like, Prehistoric Planet's Triceratops was pretty good, but I still thought that it too often defaulted to using green and brown. So I thought that the Prehistoric Park one was still a lot better. Again, that was one of my criticisms of the new series of the Walking with Dinosaurs. Too many of the dinosaurs were just black, green, brown, beige. Not enough color. I think that's suitable as a sort of decorative one. Okay, now this one, which was the carnivore style. I kind of want to do two versions of this. So we're going to do one with the poles, and then we're going to do one that's slightly different. So, same thing again. We'll take the doubles, duplicate, move in, make sure they're in the right spot. Pretty much. And we're going to duplicate the top bar here. So I think we're going to duplicate both of those. So duplicate those bars. And then we're going to duplicate 2 bars at the bottom. And then the rest of it is going to be those pipes. And those pipes are, in actual fact, these guys. These guys work wonderful as discount fencing. And I actually think it makes more sense, or it makes quite good sense for them to be fencing as well, just because they are round. Oh, now getting them to fit properly is going to be a bugger, because that is sticking out. Okay, so these must have to be a little smaller. That is hidden. That is hidden. That seems like it's halfway. Just want to check that that's not quite perfect. It's sticking out a little bit there. Placement mode, please. Yep, hidden there. More or less hidden there, that's fine. And then it's just duplicate. And for spacing, I just use those grommets that are on them. There's one design for anti-carnivore. But then the second design I want to use is going to be kind of the opposite way around. So what I want to do is find... We're going to need something like that, to be honest. I think those are too narrow. Let's make sure these can be at the right height, like that. Let's make sure they're roughly in the middle, which I think that they are. Yep, and then we're going to duplicate that one. Ah. May have to switch to the other. So the idea is that basically it looks like proper logs have been slid down the grooves of the girders. That's the theory. Problem is I would have to double up on those. So if I wanted to just use one of these, how much more narrow would I have to make that? That's still too... That size would fit. But then I'd have to double up on the girders. Okay. People keep telling me the piece count doesn't matter in my comments section, so whatever. Nope. No, we're just going to duplicate this. Which one do you think has the worst design, Dominion, Giga, or Jurassic World Dimorphodon? They're both pretty poor. I would probably have to say the Giga. Just because, like, it clearly isn't Giga. Like, you can call it Giga as much as you like, but it really clearly isn't a Giga. It really clearly is Acrocanthosaurus. Like, the Dimorphodon doesn't look a thing like Dimorphodon should, but it's not, like, dramatically off. It's, you know, it's passable as Dimorphodon. The Giga is not passable at all as Giga. I thought I was using the non-grid one. Now I'm doing this because obviously if you use the log fence I've just built, you won't see the animal. So the idea here is to provide a version of the same sort of fence, but one which you could use naturally with it. In this case, a glass one. Now, are we sticking out anywhere? We are. So if I make it smaller again, that's... that I think is passable. I think that's fine. I'm going to change this to a nice brown. There we are. So now obviously you can have all these three types of fencing work with each other, and they should all suit each other. That's the theory. Hello, Basti. So now I need to make the same ones but double length. So all I'm going to do here is duplicate this one. Now, let's duplicate this piece. So that is the length that it needs to be. Obviously, these need to be shifted over slightly. I'm gonna make sure that all of the diamonds are level. The ones on that side. That'll do. Maybe we need to... Hang on, let's... What if we put one of these just in the middle like that? A single one in the middle. What do you folks think? Do they think that looks better with like the single log bar in the middle? I think that looks better than no bar. The real Godzilla, I will put everything I make on the workshop eventually. Goes up there. For these fences, though, I want to wait until I've had a chance to make a video about them for the channel. Just so I can show them off properly. But eventually they will all be up on the workshop, and I will make a community post when things are up on the workshop. So if you want to be notified of that, I suggest you subscribe. I think it looks better with the post in the middle for that one. Like, I know I didn't put a post in the middle for this one, but I think that one it's fine. But with these ones, I think that looks better. Okay, so we're going to duplicate that. And then this one needs to be the uneven logs. So... what I'm thinking I might do is just grab that, confirm, duplicate. And all I should be doing here is just duplicating them and maybe putting an extra one in the middle. Grab that one and make this one really short. Happy with that? That works fine for me. And same thing again. This is exactly what I was doing the other day, just so much of my time was spent just duplicating fences across and then modifying them slightly. I didn't have any plan for any of these fence designs, by the way. I literally just made them up as I went along. I just started at that end and just went along and just experimented. So, how would you curve the fences? Well, you can't really curve a straight fence. That is unfortunately a fact of the matter. And until Frontier introduces some new fence types that are built off the same method as the fencing they have in game, all we can do is kind of... It will always be imperfect. So if I just grab this one, like... Let's... Like, you would have to duplicate, then go down to here, turn off the angle snap, and then, like, shift it by a few degrees and then line it up. And then do the same thing again. Like shift it by a few degrees. Line it up. And you would just have to keep doing that around. I mean, the easiest method would probably be to put down the like invisible fence. Make a curve with that. And then basically use that as like a guide for placing the solid fence. But it will never be perfect, and that's just something you have to accept with this style. And until Frontier offers us something better, it's just going to have to be like that. Although it should be noted, if you go to real world zoos, you'll notice that most of their stuff is square for this very reason. But you know, that's just those three pieces put in there. That's, you know, it isn't totally perfect, but it's reasonable. And that's all it really has to be. Obviously, for these longer double sections, it's going to be harder. Which is why I've built most of these in single and double length sections. So people can try and do curves if they want to. Right, what's the next type? This one here. Thinking again, like this one. We'll put a chunk in the middle. You're eating pumpkin pie. I have never had pumpkin. That is no word of a lie. I have never tried pumpkin. Primarily because over here, Halloween is not a huge thing in the UK. Like, unlike the USA, which goes absolutely nuts over it, here in the UK, Halloween is just kind of overshadowed by Christmas. So as a result, you don't really do anything for it. Like, you'll have Halloween parties are rare. I think I've only ever been invited to 2 Halloween parties in my life. One when I was about probably around 7, 8, maybe a bit older. And then one when I was at university. 2 very different types of Halloween party. Yeah, and that's about it. So yeah, I've never actually tried pumpkin pie before. I don't even know what it tastes like pumpkin itself. Like, irrespective of it being in a pie, I have no idea what it tastes like. Okay, and then this one with the pipes is pretty much built on this one, I think. This ensures I've got the right number of pipes. Yeah, for this one, I still think having the middle bar makes sense. Right. Now this mushti. Now with these 2, I'm going to duplicate both of these as they are. Oops. It's just... What? Press the wrong button. Let's move that out of the way, just so we can see what we're doing. Right. Let's make sure I have that set to the right length. Now, I would kind of prefer this tree trunk one to be solid logs all the way along, because I think that makes sense. So there won't be a bar in the middle of this one. What I'm just going to do is plonk that there. Are those the longest ones? They are not. Whoops. Okay. Rotate. And then we're going to make sure that these guys are nice and thick with a capital TH. Okay. Now, how many did I fit in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, what it makes sense to do is get rid of those. What size are these anyway? 1.3s. Yeah. So duplicate. Rotate. Make 1.3. Make sure it's placed right using the existing ones. There we go. Move it this end so it's about there. And we just use the logs we already had as a perfect guide. That. Perfect. And for the glass one, we basically copy what we've done here. So we deleted those. That. We duplicate this chunk of glass. Make sure that it is roughly in the middle there. Now, if we placed them perfectly, we end up with a bit of a gap that we can't do much about. But what did we do over here? Over here was 2 of them. Okay, what if we used a twofer instead of a 4? Kind of the texture of a potato, but sweeter. More like sweet potato and potato mix. That's a very odd combination. That being said, I don't think I've ever had sweet potato. What if we moved it? This is the hardest bit of modular building, I find. Trying to make sure everything fits correctly. Because obviously if it doesn't, it just looks weird. See, we got a bloody gap there. It's not sticking out. It's sticking out there. Let's just shift this a little. So I think that's all right. It's obviously not identical to this, but I think it works. Lovely. Right, next up. Yeah, next is these guys. These are the high security or higher security ones. So they are chunkier. And they have their own unique style. So we'll do this equivalent first. So probably easier to go from using this one. So we need to replicate this here. Huh. Okay. I'm thinking I do want this where we actually put the logs in. Like, we can make it wider and thicker. But we can't really make it taller. So, where's the height? That's the height there. So that actually needs to be quite far off the ground. And then if you're doing... you actually end up with a slightly awkward bit in the middle, but I can do something with it. That's fine. What you need to figure out is what to put underneath. Maybe this is where we call in that we put it that way up. So if we have it that way up and like that, that is see, my problem is when people come to put it on the ground, they won't understand that it has to be buried slightly. While that one works, that is then too wide. Well, that's obviously the better way of doing it, clearly. And then let's sink these into the right height. So it's about there. Hmm. Okay, I think that's okay. We need our big twofers. This is also the why I haven't grouped up any of those fences that we have completed yet, just so I can easily duplicate and shift stuff across. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Well, I say that, but I do want to put big, chunky supports in, so I don't actually mind the fact they're sticking through the base of the concrete. I actually think that that works. I am gonna... Okay, so... Okay. Let's make these guys a little bigger. And I'm going to deliberately have these ones sticking out the sides.
Not this way, Cash. Cash, no, run.
Just to make them look a extra bit chunky. For those of you wondering, he's playing Final Fantasy in the background. I assume that's why he's running for his life.
No, it's not.
A little bit, but it's okay.
Sorry, you can be much quieter. Although it's not being picked up on my end.
Okay. Duplicate. Another one. Beneath. And one on base. Like it's in the middle to me. I'm thinking let's have it intersect all of these bits. So like that. And we'll make sure there's one. Okay. I'm wondering if... Oh dear. It wasn't very good, was it? I'm wondering if we should change the color on these logs that are like in the middle, so to speak. Just to give it a bit of variation. Maybe make them lighter. Getting the spacing can be a little bit frustrating. What do people think? Do you think we should change the color of the logs that are in? Because obviously, as you can see over here, what I've done with these guys is I've used dark and light tones. But I do think with these log ones, I think it's okay to use the same color in some places, but I think here this just looks a little bland. So maybe we could change the colors of some of these to indicate maybe it's a different type of wood. Maybe if we changed the chunky supports. Maybe if we made them all like that. Shift those down slightly. I think that looks better. I actually think it would make all of these ones look better too. Actually, no, not really, because over here, it's not really the same. I don't know. It's what happens when I decide to change something after the fact. I think it looks better, the different colors of wood. I think that's better.
Retract.
Just subtly different enough just to make it look less boring.
This is a dead end.
I'm thinking of doing a version of these where, like, having an alternate version as well, where like we have the middle logs as like silver birch, just for a different coloration. If I can get the color right. That's a lot of wood, but there's never enough.
Oh, so it just stops there. Oh, that's so much bigger with the generic. I think there's some more. And we're in a dead end.
Okay, I'm happy with that. Ah, no, I'm not, because I need to add in the supports. So
More lemons. Why is the battery in? The battery's in. Oh. Is that battery in or?
I think that one technically needs to be taller.
Cash, that's better. Yeah, there's a dead end then.
That's better.
Yeah.
And then instead of these pipes, I think I'm going to use these logs again. Actually, it doesn't make sense to use those logs. It makes sense to use the pipes. These will be placed to stop naughty kids from getting too close to the fence. That's the idea of these anyway. It's to stop people going right up to the fence when you probably don't want them to do that. There.
Two more. Maybe.
I think that's all right. So, now we need to make a version of all of this. Confirm, duplicate. And then this one needs to be... Ah. glass. So this one, what we do is we actually have it laying pretty much on the surface of the gravel. Ha 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 ha. There's a gap in the middle. Okay. Sometimes it's just easier to make stuff bigger. They're sticking out. Oh, they're sticking out. Oh, that doesn't matter actually. Anything that matters. Too badly. What if we were to hide it? Where would it have to go? Okay. Just about. Oh, that one was easy. Not quite the same as that one, but I think that's fine. Yeah, I don't think I asked for a weird animal fact today, though, did I? I need to create a version of this. Entirely sure why I have a half section for this one. But it is what it is. Oh, for God's sake. Might have to use glass. Woodpeckers use their tongues practically as a helmet. I did know that fact, though. That one is too tall. That's annoying. That one, the glass matched up perfectly when I was doing that one. This one, it does not. But I think I can live with it, to be honest. It's not that bad. Right, and then the next one is this one, which is like the big prison bars. Again, we'll probably go off that one. Confirm, duplicate. So that one, we had 2 bars at the top, 2 bars at the bottom. So let's do the same thing again. 2 bars at the top, 2 bars at the bottom. Actually leaves quite a big gap. They fit pretty well though. Doesn't quite fit. Oh, interesting. These were slightly smaller. Probably to prevent people. Well, people could still put their hands through something that big. I actually think that looks okay like that. Like I know this one I've doubled up, but for this one I think it's okay to use slightly bigger bits. That being said, well, no, actually, I think if a large carnivore would never get their head that far through that, so I think that's fine. What is it, King Giga, that you're actually looking forward to from it, though? Like, because I'm pretty sure if we were all being honest, the things we're looking forward to from the Rebirth DLC are relatively minimal. It's like the Spino, the Moser, maybe the Rex skins, and then that's kind of it. Like, that's basically all I'm going to be using the Rebirth DLC for, is that. Shoot. How far backwards does that have to go? Quite a bit. Ah, there we go. Nice. I don't care for the dinos, and I have no hope Rebirth brings good scenery pieces. Yeah, I mean... we'll have to wait and see what they do with it. Oh, right, we're up to these super high security ones, although the stream is almost over. And I do want to have a go at making a version of these big tree trunk girder ones, but making them in this style. Like taller and thicker logs. I think we've made a good start here. We've got some nice looking wooden designs going on here. I've actually realized no, yeah, that's fine. I think we've got some good designs going on here. Not tonight, no, but I am going to be ending the stream in a minute. Although I do want to let people know. So if I go to workshop, so the hotel is up there for anyone who wants to utilize it. It is up here now. 8PS ZHJ M78. So if you want to make use of this completely finished hotel construction, please feel free to. And eventually when the fences go up, so what I've done is I've separated the fences into sort of their component height pieces. And then there's one with them, there'll be one with like them all in, and then there'll be one with them separated by heights. Just so if you don't want to like download them all in one chunk, you can mix and match or whatever. And that's how I'm going to upload them. This guy will be... Rather, this restaurant will be going up as soon as I can get to make a video on it. Along with the large solar power plant. And these trellis pieces as well, modular trellises, will be going up. As well. So yeah, there'll be plenty of stuff going on the workshop from me soon. Yeah, I think we made a good go of it. I'm actually going to save this. Save this as fence building. Because obviously I need to do the other fences, the tall sauropod fences, the laser fences, and the solid metal ones with the electric going on there. But we got almost all of them done, which I'm quite happy with. So yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. Sorry it's been a bit of a boring stream today. I was just too tired to do anything that required huge amounts of thinking. But yeah, I will see everyone on Wednesday. I think me and Fallout were going to do play something together, possibly Grip again. The car combat game. So we'll see you on Wednesday. There is a video prepared for Wednesday as well, so I hope you guys enjoy that. But yeah, until then, I hope the rest of you enjoy your Sunday evenings. Stay safe, and good night.